Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. I'm Papa Boris, and I'm playing a game that is currently in development right here. This is called Legrand Legacy. Not The Grand Legacy, but Legrand Legacy. Anyway, this game, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the pause button for a second here. This is a game that's currently on Kickstarter, and they have not met their goal yet, so if you like this video, you should do two things. Number one, go to the links in the description below and download the pre-alpha version on Steam. I'm not playing any special press version or anything. This is just something I downloaded off of Steam. And then the second thing you should do is go to the Kickstarter, check it out, and maybe support it if this is the kind of game that you would like to see finished someday. I like to just get into the games when I start playing, but you can probably already see just from 2 seconds, this is definitely a JRPG. And that is exactly what it is meant to be. It's an homage to all the great JRPG classics. And I want to be honest, not a big fan of the genre. However, I did enjoy this game, so I'm going to take you through part of the prologue and explain how the combat works, because of course that's the heart and soul of any good JRPG, because the stories are not very good. Sorry, that's just my personal opinion seeping through any hoodle. I'm just going to show you how the combat works and explain it, play through some of the levels, and yeah, that should be a wrap for this video. I'll let you decide from there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the story of JRPGs. I feel like the characters are pretty one-dimensional, if that. And in this game, the story is that your protagonist, this dude here, standing here flashing, he doesn't have any memories. He's an amnesiac slave who turns out to be part of a prophecy to save the world from an ancient evil that was locked away a long time ago and is now coming back. And it's like, come on, what'd you do? Did you, like, put the cliche dictionary through a paper shredder and write a script out of the clippings? But anyway, sorry, I told myself when I started this, I'm not gonna rant about how much I hate JRPG stories and how I think that they're stupid. But the point is, let's talk about the combat, all right? So in this game, like in many JRPGs, everybody, locks in their actions and takes turns doing stuff. The twist on the formula, though, is that whereas in the Final Fantasy type of games, you do your thing and then someone else does their thing and then you do your thing, etc. In this game, all the players on the battlefield lock in their actions at once, and then the actions are resolved in a semi-random order. So you can use items, you can do, guarding or fleeing or moving around. You can obviously perform attacks. But when I, lock in an attack against this monster, for example, like, it's not going to attack right now. I'm going to have to lock in a move for the old creepy man, who is my second party member at the moment, and then the monster will lock in their move as well, and then all of our stuff is going to get resolved. Now in this game, in addition to that, everybody has 2 element types, a melee element and a magical element. Like you can see, for example, that this thing, the Kojvana, has the melee element, which is a slash. I know it's a little bit hard to tell, but there's 3 different ones. There's slashing, piercing, and impact. And they all kind of sort of look like what they're supposed to be, so you can kind of tell it's like a whooshing symbol, so that's a slash. And then it also has a magical element, so this dude is lightning. Now, for the melee elements, there's a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. Piercing beats impact, and impact beats slashing, and slashing beats piercing. If that's hard to remember, I use the acronym PIS, P-I-S, piercing, impact, slashing. Now, all it means is that, if you do a piercing attack versus an impact attack, then you'll do more damage, whereas if you do an impact attack versus a piercing attack, you'll do less damage. So my guy is slashing, and this is also slashing, so I'm going to do my normal damage if I were to do an attack against this monster. For the elemental thing, there's also rock, paper, scissors. It's a little bit easier to remember. Obviously, lightning beats water, and water beats fire. That means fire beats rock, and rock beats lightning. There's also air. Air is not part of the rock, paper, scissors schema. Air is not strong against anything, but air is also not weak against anything. Now, my guy isn't doing a magical attack here, so for this the elemental stuff doesn't really matter. Now, on top of regular attacks, there's also something called Grimoire, and I like this implementation in the game. The thing I don't like about a lot of RPGs, not just JRPGs, but RPGs in general, is that you're always inhibited in your magical abilities, either because the stuff is on a cooldown, or because it uses mana, and you have to worry about your mana. In this game, they're like, fuck all that. You got spells, use spells, don't worry about it. I know you're going to see in the bottom right-hand corner AP, that is not mana, though. That is, when the bar fills up, you get to do like a super finishing move, combo breaker type of thing, you know, some big ass move, but that's not for magic. Grimoires, you got spells. I mean, if you're a character who knows spells, you can just cast them and, you know, have a field day. So that's good. Of course, there's a price. Spells are channeled, meaning that they are always resolved after any normal attacks. And if you get hit by an attack, when you queued up a spell, a grimoire, then there's a chance that your grimoire will get interrupted and you'll end up doing nothing for your turn. So just to recap, let's say that my, you know, protagonist dude here queued up a grimoire. He currently doesn't know any, but let's say he did. And then let's say that he got attacked by this weirdo hyena demon thing. Then there's a chance that, well, then there's a guarantee that the demon's attack would go first, unless it was also a grimoire attack. But if it wasn't a grimoire attack, it would go through first. And if it attacked my guy, then there's a chance that my guy's grimoire would get interrupted. So you have to think about that when you're making your attacks. Now, the other thing to note is that there is a front row, back row system in this game. So my wizard dude, he's in the back row. And the advantage of being in the back row is, of course, you get a bonus to spell casting. You cannot do melee attacks from the back row. And if you're in the back row and anyone in your party is in the front row, then enemy melee attacks cannot target you. The enemy can still target you with grimoires, but they cannot target you with melee attacks. So this guy is free to do his grimoires because there's a guy protecting him in the front row, and so the enemy, unless they use some kind of a spell, will not be able to attack him. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and use Fireball here, because although the enemy is lightning, and Earth is strong against lightning, this is an area of effect attack. The thing I know that does Earth damage is an area of effect, so it doesn't do that much damage, so probably just going to do more damage if I do this Fireball. One thing I like about this game is that you really have to think carefully about combat. In a lot of JRPGs, a lot of the time when you're just going around, it's just attack, 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 attack until everything's gone. But here you have to really think, you know, for the long-term longevity of your squad. Like, it might, in some cases, depending on the enemy you're fighting, be better to actually do a guard. Like, if the sword damage I'm going to do with my guy is going to be inconsequential and not going to bring the enemy down any faster, I'm better off doing a guard just so I take less damage. Whereas if I think that the sword damage will be significant, then I'm better off doing an attack. And, you know, that kind of thinking is pretty important. Now, with that being said, what I don't like about this game right now and what I hope changes, it is a pre-alpha version, so probably a lot is going to change. You know, you don't want to go too hard on the game when it's still in pre-alpha. Is that the game doesn't give you enough information. Like, I have no idea how much attacks do. I don't know how much health the enemies have. You know, for Mr. Old Man over here, I don't know what damage any of these do. You can kind of sort of figure it out through trial and error, but my thinking is a very fundamental principle of game design is that complexity needs to be proportional to the information that you give the player. If you're going to have a really complex system, that's great, but then you need to give the player a whole lot of information. If you're going to have a really simple game, then it's fine to just withhold information from the player. But here, this system is pretty complex, so we really should know things like how much damage does my shit do, how much health do my opponents have, so I can make the right moves and feel like I'm actually being strategic as opposed to just making choices and hoping that it works. Let's go ahead and do Fireball. Now, there's one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, which is a real-time component. First, I'm going to show it to you, then I'm going to explain it. It's a little bit trippy the first time you try it, and you're definitely going to get wrecked the first time the game pops up. Well, maybe you won't because you watched this video, but the first time I played, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it just crushed the hell out of me. So here we go. We're going to lock in our attacks, and now this shit happens. So, quick time event, and quick time event. Now I know nobody's thinking, oh boy, quick time events, my favorite. Yeah, quick time events are pretty universally reviled. So I gotta hand it to the developers of this game. They made a really ballsy choice, making quick time stuff. Oh shit. I think I'm gonna get stuck in this whirlpool. Oh no, trying to get over to that skeleton there, see if I can loot it. Loot its worldly remains. Making QuickTime elements kind of an integral part of the system. Ooh, nice. Oh yeah, bloodstone shards. Hell yeah. Though those are out of combat, or in combat, healing things. So the designers of this game made QuickTime elements a pretty integral component of this game, which is ballsy because nobody likes QuickTime. But it works, because it keeps you engaged. You don't just lock in your attacks and, you know, go take a nap, but you, like, for every single attack of every single round of every single combat that you have, you have to be paying attention, and you're involved in the game as opposed to other games where you're a bit more passive after locking in your decisions. So the way it works is that you have to press the right button at the right time. The button that you press is going to be one of the 4 arrow keys, up, down, left, or right, and the right time varies. So you have to like try to press that button when the needle is in the right part of the dial, but it's a different part of the dial each time. So you can't just memorize a pattern and get into rhythm like you could in Paper Mario. You have to actually watch your screen and look to see what is happening and see in a very short amount of time which button you need to press and when you're trying to get the needle to stop. Now, if you get a perfect, which is very hard because it's a very narrow range, I think I actually got 2 perfects last time, which was remarkable. I don't get a lot of perfects. If you get a perfect, then you get bonus damage, obviously. If you don't get a perfect, but at least you're within the right band, then your attack hits and does normal damage. And if you really fuck up by either pressing the wrong button or by pressing outside of the good range, then I don't know if you're guaranteed to get a miss, but you're pretty likely to miss with your attack, which is obviously bad. There are no second chances, so if you accidentally press the wrong button or something, nope, you just missed that attack. You also have to input a quick time event as a defense against the enemy's attack. And if you get a perfect, then you can reduce some of the incoming damage. If you miss on that, the enemies will do more damage to you, and if you get it within the right range, then the enemies will deal a normal amount of damage to you. So here, let's go ahead and do another fight with that in mind. These guys, I don't think I actually do very much damage against them, not because of their type of damage. I think we're both slashing, so that's fine. But it's just because I think that they're just monsters who I don't do very much damage against. So I'm going to do a guard, because I happen to know that my wizard is going to be one-shotting these fiery things. You can see their element is fire, with the bubble prison, which is a water attack that's single target, and deals, I think, enough damage to kill them in one hit. So I don't need the sword damage from my protagonist, and by doing a guard to reduce the incoming damage coming in, I actually promote the longevity of my party. Alright, so here's one. That was a good. There's the bubble prison, so that's a good. That's going to deal normal damage and kill it in one hit. And we're up to the next thing. Notice that there were only 2 quick time events last time, just the defense and then just the wizard's attack. The reason for that, of course, is that my sword guy, my protagonist, dude with spiky hair, super original, did not do an attack that time. He only defended, so that's why I only had to do 2 quick time events. But if I had done an attack with my sword, then I would have done 3 quick time events. 1 with my sword attack, 1 with my defense for whoever is getting attacked, and then of course 1 for the bubble prison. So that's basically how the combat in this game works. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is leveling up. My guy just leveled up conveniently, and you do level up a good bit in this game. Yeah, there it is. So let's talk about your characters. When you level up, you get 3... Oh, hang on. I haven't done this in the save file. We're going to go ahead and skip past the tutorials. So, when you level up, you get 3 skill points. You can see it kind of in the middle left side of the screen where it says Fighter level 12, and then it says Finn, that's my name, ATP 6. So I have 6 points to spend to improve my stats. And this game commits the egregious crime that pretty much all RPGs do, not just JRPGs, which is that it doesn't tell you fuck all jack, squat, or snickerdoodle what these stats are actually for. Just like, oh, strength increases physical damage, you don't friggin' say, you know. So I'd like a little bit more information about it, like how much does it increase my physical damage per point? And then like, what do these numbers, hang on a second, there is a ringing at my door. But at the very least, you can like try putting a point into something, and it'll show you in blue how what changed and by how much, which I appreciate. So for example, if for 1 point of strength, my physical attack goes from 127 to 137. But again, I don't really know what that means. So does that mean that like I do 137 damage per attack? Does that attack apply to my grimoires? Like I don't know exactly, you know, what that means. But basically, putting points into strength will increase your damage output. Vitality, you can see, increases your overall health and your physical defense. Again, I don't know how physical defense works. I don't know what it does exactly. Like, what is 2 points of physical defense really worth? But, you know, over time, you can increase your health significantly. So, for example, if I were to put all 6 of these points into Vitality, my health would go from 741 to 1112. So that's, you know, it's over a 50% increase, so you gotta figure that's a pretty significant difference. Agility is a bunch of different things, and these stats don't do the same things for everybody. So you can see that my physical attack improves a wee tad, and then my critical hit evasion and accuracy percentages improve a wee tad as well. I'm guessing it's probably not worth putting agility in this fighter, but obviously you don't get far enough in the prologue that currently exists in the demo version of the game to find out if, you know, a lot of agility is important later on. Intelligence is important because it increases your magic defense, which I find pretty interesting. So basically, you know, even though this guy's a fighter, so he's kind of an idiot and supposed to stay that way, there is a benefit in this game to giving your fighter intelligence, unlike in most RPGs, in that it increases your resistance to magical attacks. So notice that Vitality increases physical defense by 2, and Intelligence increases magical defense by 2, so it's the same increase for both of them. Again, though, like, what does it actually do? How much does it actually matter? What does it mean for my magical attack to be 89 instead of 78? I don't really know. That stuff, really, I hope, is much better explained by the time the game launches. And finally, luck is an interesting stat. So this increases your odds of interrupting an enemy. If you attack someone who's doing a Grimoire attack, then part of the cost for them of doing a Grimoire attack instead of a normal attack is that they can get interrupted. But that's not a guarantee, so if you're lucky, you will interrupt your enemies more often. It also gives you a better chance of finding some loots after battle, and it increases your perfect act area. If you're wondering what that text means at the bottom, perfect act area, that's basically the, let's say, width of the sliver on the dial during the QuickTime events that counts as perfect, which I think is really cool. So this fighter, with his luck of 5, is really rarely going to get perfects because you have to be very damn precise. Whereas if your luck was higher, you'd have a, you know, bigger pool. You'll notice also on the right-hand side it says Next Grimoire. This tells you when you unlock Grimoire abilities. So, like, I have a Marginal Melt that unlocks at when my luck is 15 and my agility is 20. What does Marginal Melt do, you might ask? Who knows? And that's another thing that really needs to be explained in this game, because there needs to be some way to look up all these abilities. I think some of the abilities just suck. Keeping bags of dick is another problem. I really do wish that, like, they were better, but for a start, I'd like to know what the hell they do to know whether it's actually worth going after any of them. Notice here at strength 30 we do get a heat slash, but you cannot look up how much damage it does. You cannot look up any other stats. I mean, you can figure it's an attack with fire, but it's a Grimoire attack instead of a normal attack, so you always do it last. You can get interrupted, and when I tried it, it didn't really seem to do any more damage than a regular old fucking slash. So, again, I would like to know all the numbers about these different abilities, because right now it's very hard to make intelligent decisions. So my advice when you play through the prologue is don't worry about unlocking stuff in your Grimoire. I mean, you can, just to dick around. You need, what, like, you need 17 points to unlock this Heat Arc, which I guess is an AoE heat slash, but I don't know, does it do less damage than a normal slash? Who knows? I'm probably just going to be putting points into strength and vitality. Strength, so I do more damage, and vitality, so I have more hit points. And for now, we'll just go ahead and split the difference. Just put 3 into each of them, and we'll let my magical defense continue to suck dicks. Alright, of course, once you confirm your point distribution, you cannot change it later on. That's fine. I learned, oh god, okay, so now, whatever. So I learned some new Grimoires because of my stat increases, which I probably won't be using because I have not found them to be particularly useful when I have tried them in previous playthroughs. Could be wrong about it, but I'm not gonna, you know, risk screwing up combats. Got a crossbone. Now those black orbs, those are monsters. If you run into it kind of head on, then it's a normal fight. If you get snuck, if the black orb runs into you from the back, then you miss your first round and they get to attack and you don't, which is really bad. And then if you run into the monsters from the back, then you get to attack in the first round while they do not get to attack in the first round. Although, you'd be thinking, like, well, why would any idiot, you know, allow himself to get snuck up on by the monsters? And the answer is the controls are a little bit clumsy, since, you know, you're kind of using up, down, left, and right to run around the map. It's really, really easy to, to just slip. Like, you clearly were intending to do something else, and your avatar on the map does something clearly different. But, yeah, so for that reason, there were quite a good deal of times when I got snuck up on by the monsters, even though I was pretty sure I had the right intentions. Anyway, you can see how it works. So there's a different button that has to be pressed each time in order to stop the quick time event, and then the range is in a different place each time. So that keeps the combat pretty engaging. Of course, we just fought the same monsters a couple of times, so it's not. It hasn't been particularly illustrative. Alright, so let's talk about the dialogue. The dialogue in this game is fucking terrible, and I'm sorry, designers. I'm sure it's just me. I'm sure I just don't appreciate JRPG dialogue and how repetitive, banal, trite, and one-dimensional it is. I'm sure it's just me. Clearly the JRPG audience. And I don't mean to be totally sarcastic when I say that. Like, Final Fantasy VII is hailed as one of the greatest works of storytelling in video gaming. When I tried playing it, I found it completely insufferable, so it's just not for me. So for me, I just find that everybody says things way too much. There's way too many lines of dialogue to skip past, and like you could really just cut it down with better writing. But one thing I hope though is that in future editions of the game, that we get an option to just blanket skip all dialogue, just as a checkbox in the main menu, just skip all dialogue, or at least like a button to press that skips all the dialogue instead of just the dialogue that you're on at that second. Because I did read it all, in spite of all my criticisms. I did read all of the dialogue my first time through. It's just now that I've been through it, I don't want to read it again because it's bad. And on top of that, I don't want to necessarily read it for you guys because, you know, I don't want to spoil everything for those of you who do care about the story. Alright, we just stopped by one of those, like, green points. Those are save points. Save points are obviously great because they heal you up to full. I didn't actually save at the save point, but I ran through it, and so it healed me up. If you're wondering why I'm not at full health, it's because there are various parts of the map that are dangerous, and if you linger there, you take some damage. Wait a minute, I'm an idiot. Hang on. I actually ran into these monsters from the back, so I guess I might as well whack one. Here, I'll do let's do my new heat slash. Ooh, alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my bubble prison on the other one to actually kill it. Hoink! There's a heat slash, 106 damage. Is that more or less than my regular attack? Don't know. No way to tell. But against these monsters, with my wizard one-shotting them, I don't really see any reason to do an attack. I might as well just do a guard to reduce my incoming damage. So I only took 13 damage. Had I done an attack with my sword, what would have happened is I would have hit the thing with my sword, and then it would have hit me. And both of those things would have happened before the bubble prison, because remember, the bubble prison, that is a grimoire, and grimoires are always resolved after normal melee attacks. So I would have just taken unnecessary extra damage there, because obviously the bubble prison would be the thing that killed it. Alright, this map has these whirlpools. Pretty annoying, so you kind of have to run in here, and this is basically like another gauntlet that you need to make it through. That is one of the challenges in the game. All of the individual fights are pretty simple, but when you have to encounter a whole bunch before a save point, you know, you can have your health get whittled down, and that can be a problem. Alright, we're going to try attacks against these Clouthers. Just another thing of pretty bad storytelling, if I can continue harping on the badness of the story. It says that these vulture things only go after you if you're dead, but I'm not dead. They're still attacking me, so what the fuck's up with that? Any hoodle. So unfortunately, didn't quite get a perfect there, but that, you see that big red text that said interrupted? It said that because it did a grimoire attack, and so when I attacked it, I interrupted it. Okay, these things often dodge my attacks, but I can't get the guy in the back because he's in the back row. So we'll just, I guess, try that again. And do you have your ultimate attack? No, so my magician's AP bar is full, but we haven't gotten to the part of the game where we can do super attacks, so we'll just... Oh, hey, I can actually hit that guy with fire. Fire is good against earth. Maybe I can just one-shot this thing. See if that's good. Oink. Oh, I pressed the wrong button! Oh, shit, I pressed left instead of right. Now, I got lucky, it didn't miss entirely, and because my grimoire resolved before his, I hit him first, and then his got interrupted. I'm gonna go ahead and do a guard here. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I should be doing maybe I should be going after these Clouthers and doing guards with my protagonist, because I just got hit for 138 damage. Which is kind of a lot of damage as far as damage goes. Alright. So defend. Can you kill that with a fireball, please? Thank you. Alright, let's try repelling this attack. Yeah, it took 74, which is still better than the 100 that I took, and I don't seem to be doing very much with my sword, anywho. Okay, so that guy did an earth attack, which did hit my mage in the back, because it's a magical attack, and it can do that. So let's just keep on guarding, I suppose, and then we're gonna try to sure, we'll just try to finish off Mr. Clouthers there, although I could have hit the guy in the back as well if I wanted. So that should get rid of the Harpy, and then another Earth Spike coming in here. 34 damage. Alright, let's go ahead and attack him. I think it's worth attacking him because he's doing Grimoires pretty much all day, every day. And so my attack is going to resolve before his Grimoire does, and so there's a chance I interrupt him. See, it said it interrupted, so I stopped him from doing his attack, which means I reduced my incoming damage. Of course, I killed him anyway with my wizard, so I don't know how much that really mattered, but all I'm trying to say is you do have to think sort of carefully about how you do your shit. Alright, both my guys got leveled up. Unfortunately, in this game, you do not gain health on level up. So I'm going to just run past that, because I don't really care that much about grinding. That's one thing I don't like about JRPGs either, is the amount of grinding that they require. Where the hell am I? Oh, I'm back here. Shit. Do I have to, like, go around? Oh, I have to go around like that. Okay. I just really don't like grinding. I think it's bad game design, but a lot of people love it, so whatever. But this game, I don't know, I haven't seemed to have had to do a lot of grinding, so I'm just gonna run by those things because all they're doing is they're making my life harder. When I have to fight, I take damage, and it's not really worth it. Alright, here unfortunately we got some story, and you know, basically we hunker down for the night and have a really super meaningful conversation. And the man rubs stuff on my body and heals me. Okay, and then, by the way, you can see, I'm like pressing enter as fast as I can. There is so much dialogue. And when it comes to writing, more is not necessarily better. Like, all of this dialogue right here just basically amounts to, like, I need to go get this medicine to my daughter. And then the warrior guy saying, I will follow you because I respect you. Also, I forgot all my stuff and don't have any memories. So that's pretty much it. Like, there's really very little said, but I had to, like, keep pressing enter for, like, a solid 20 seconds just to skip past all the kind of meaningless dialogue lines. So, I don't know how much that can be changed, because I grant that I'm just not the target audience for JRPG modes of storytelling. I'm a very, very harsh critic of writing, and clearly it's intended for a different sort of player. I don't think that's going to get any better, but I'm fine with it because I do like the combat system, and I'm very interested to, like, you know, meet other characters. In this pre-alpha version, you do encounter another person, and so you get to, like, learn new abilities, and maybe try different party compositions, experimenting with different ways of leveling up, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god! Can we stop this? Okay, so there's a save point here. Go ahead and actually save. You don't actually have to be at a save point, by the way, to save. As long as there aren't any enemies on the map, you can save. But, you know, those green points are obviously a convenient spot to do it. Usually skeletons means some kind of pickup, some kind of loot that you can get. I don't know if it's random or not. And why don't we go ahead and also level up. So, I'll just get some more vitality for now. And then for my wizard, I'm just going to go all the way for intelligence, just because that increases the amount of magic damage I deal, and that's his role in the party, is to deal magic damage and kill things as quick as he can. Alright, I think I'm going to run over this thing, just in case when I boosted my health, I didn't boost my maximum health. Let's get out of this cave. And now we get attacked by bandits. I gotta say, I'm not particularly impressed with this bit of storytelling here. So these are just like random bandits with swords. They're not even armored. Now, in this combat, spoiler alert, you can't win. Like, you don't even dent these assholes. with any of your damage. And they just like kill you in one hit. So you're gonna see this is pretty hilarious. So there's that. Unless oh, let's just do some, let's do a bubble prison because he's a fire element. Okay. And then so you do that. So you do this. Oh yeah, perfect. Sweet. Not really perfect. Oh, it hit me for 687 damage and killed me in one hit. Oh, how interesting. Okay. So this is basically bullshit. Like, don't make the player go through the motion of a fight if you're just gonna kill him. Now, I kind of understand doing that if it's against some really fierce enemy, but these are just a bunch of random ass bandits. There's absolutely no reason why I cannot trounce those guys. They're not armored. They don't look particularly threatening, so it's pretty stupid. If you want them to just ambush me and kill the old guy, sorry, spoiler alert, the old guy dies, then just go ahead and do it. This is all kind of a waste. So what happens here is really just, again, I just don't understand JRPG storytelling. So the protagonist gets knocked out, and while he's blind but not deaf, apparently the old man goes into Hulk mode on some kind of crazy ass killing spree, and either kills all the bandits or gets them all to run away. And then when you come to, you realize that the old man is dead. And here we get to some more ridiculous storytelling. So now vultures keep coming for the body, and so you have to fight the vultures until that doesn't work anymore, because you obviously can't fight off all the vultures. It's ridiculous. So yeah, one of those is for me attacking it. One of them is for me defending against its attack. Alright, so let's keep doing that. The game uses this as an opportunity to do a tutorial on your special attack, the thing with the AP bar that got filled up that hasn't mattered up until now. So yeah, more vultures come. I think this is actually probably a pretty good time to pause. What happens here is eventually you fight vultures and pass out from exhaustion because you're fighting all the vultures. And a hot girl comes up to you, who is of course like a total bitch, and she offers to help you in exchange for you helping her, but you're like a randomly stupid dick about it. So here's my ultimate move, which I really hope that there is an option to skip this cutscene, because I don't really want to watch this every single time I do it. Hilariously, you can actually mess up the quick time event and miss with your ultimate attack, so don't go to sleep on that aspect of it. Anyway, so there's some more terrible dialogue and just incomprehensibly bad writing along the way here, and you go through like a dungeon type of thing, kill a boss, and that's the end of the alpha. So anyway, hopefully, you know, you love JRPGs and you don't mind the way that JRPGs like tell a story riddled with cliches, bad dialogue, and zero-dimensional characters, and you like the combat system of this game, in which case you should definitely check out the Kickstarter, give some support, and of course download the demo on Steam and play this game out. For all my trash talking of this game, I do hope that the Kickstarter makes it, or that the game developers are able to finish the game, regardless of whether the Kickstarter makes it. Right now they're about halfway there, living on a prayer. There's about, I think, a week left at the time that I'm posting this video of the Kickstarter. And I would consider getting it. I mean, maybe not like for $60, but depending on the price of the game, I would definitely get it, because I like the character system and the way that the combat works. And I'm just curious to see how it all pans out when it's all finally polished up. Might be the only JRPG I ever play, because, well, let's face it, the story is just always bad, but I do like the combat in this one. Alright, there's the hot bitch, and we're going to go ahead and call it a day here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and or subscribe if you did, and I will see you again soon. Take care.